I'm Taylor Gouin, and I'm here with Rina Antinucci, who is a senior officer in trade compliance with a specialty in client services. How does Nexus work, and who can apply?
Nexus is a joint venture between Canada and the US. It's to simplify border crossing for low-risk travelers. You must join Nexus. You have to complete an application, submit it, then you have to be screened in. It's $50 to join. It's valid for 5 years, and anyone can apply as long as you don't have. You must be able to enter both Canada and the U.S. That's to say, you can't have a serious criminal record, or else you'd be inadmissible to both countries. So that would prohibit you from joining Nexus. It's a great program because you can use it either by land, by air, or marine mode. By land, once you've joined, you've got designated lanes that you can cross. And by air, you can use a designated kiosk at international airports such as Montreal or Toronto. And then by marine, you can actually call, let's say, half an hour ahead of time before your arrival to Canada and the US. And you can tell them, they give them all the information, answer all their questions, they give you a report number, and you're basically pre-cleared. Actually, they give you an ID card that you can use specifically for Nexus. And even children can apply. You can apply online, or you can submit a paper application. Online, just go to nexus.gc.ca, or there's a US website, and it's Global Online Enrollment Center Service, Global Online Enrollment System, and that's the US version of it. It's nice to apply online because at the end of it, what happens is they highlight areas that you still need to fill in, or areas you've made a mistake in. So, and it's simple. It takes a matter of like 5 minutes to do. So it's a great program.
Okay, and what must a person declare before entering the country?
You have to keep in mind the purpose Customs serves. We serve basically to protect Canadians and our economy. You have to be aware of what you're entitled to before you leave the country. For example, if you're away for 48 hours, you're entitled to $400 worth of merchandise. So that includes your 40 ounces of alcohol, or a case of beer, a carton of cigarettes, 50 cigars if you smoke. And then if you're away 8 days or more, actually it says 7 days, not including the day that you leave, you're entitled to $750 worth of goods, and with the same limits on the alcohol and tobacco. Keep in mind, when you buy things at the duty-free, it doesn't necessarily mean tax-free. So when you buy stuff like jewelry or alcohol, clothing, et cetera, on your way back, you still have to make those goods part of your declaration. And as far as identification is concerned, make sure you've got proper ID for yourself and for children you're traveling with. For example, a passport or your Nexus card. And if you need any information on what your exemptions are, or what proper ID you'll require, you can just go on the website, the cbsa.gc.ca website, and there's actually a Border Information Services line, the BIS line, and it's 1-800-461-9999. Just remember, when you travel anywhere, when you're crossing any international border, be wise and just be aware of what they expect and what their laws and regulations are. And then when you're coming home, the same thing applies. So.
With that being said, how do the rules differ between entering Canada and entering the United States?
Now, by that, do you mean commercial goods or just people crossing on a daily basis?
People crossing, or maybe even people using Nexus.
The rules are relatively the same. They have the same regulations that we do, more or less, when it comes to goods. You must declare everything that you're obviously importing into the United States. Their legislation is virtually the same. They want to protect their economy and the people of the United States. Commercially, normally we don't have to, commercial exporters don't have to file paperwork if the goods are valued under $2,000, because there's a memorandum of understanding between the two countries, so we gather information from both sides. So basically the rules are comparable. Again, be honest, declare everything that you have, and it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. And how much cargo is transported using Windsor's border crossing in a day?
On a daily basis, it's hard to say exactly how much, but I can safely say that about $500 million worth of goods crosses the Windsor border every day on a daily basis.
Okay, and how does customs evaluate the value of duty on these items?
Okay, the value for duty. It's the definition of, it's based on called the transaction value, which is your price paid or payable. It has to be sold for export to Canada, and you have to be able to determine what the price is. Basically, if you show up with an invoice, we'll go by that. Sometimes there are deductions and additions to those invoices, speaking on a commercial level. For example, if there was a brokerage fee included in that price, that'll be deducted from the invoice. Whereas on the other hand, if you're looking at a royalty, that would be included in the invoice price. So when it comes down to putting it in layman's terms, in simple terms, price paid or payable. Whatever, if you show up at the border and say, I bought, a $100 outfit, just produce the receipt and we'll go by that. Again, honesty.
Okay, and how much of an impact does currency exchange have on importing goods?
Currency exchange does have a huge impact on the travel, on importing of goods. You'll find that in client services, a lot more people come in to take the importing a vehicle seminar because the value of the dollar has increased and the price of vehicles has decreased. So
that was Rina Antinucci, Senior Officer in Trade Compliance.